أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقه قولي اللهم ثبتنا عند الموت بلا إله إلا الله اللهم اجعلنا من الذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات وتواصوا بالحق وتواصوا بالصبر آمين يا رب العالمين. We praise Allah and we pray that He bestows endless peace, blessings, salutations and mercy upon the last and most honorable of all prophets, Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam, the one who fought tooth and nail to see that Islam spreads into all the four corners of the world. May Allah be pleased with him and them, plus all that will follow his noble footsteps till the day of judgment. Allahumma Ameen. Yesterday we ended at a point where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala was telling the angels, Alam aqul lakum inni a'lamu ghayba samawati wal ard. Didn't I tell you that I know the hidden secrets, I know the unseen of the heavens and the earth? Wa a'lamu ma tubiduna wa ma kuntum taktumun. And I know what you put out, I know what you show, and I know that which you are hiding. And today's session, inshallah, is going to be aimed at one statement, Inni a'lamu ghayba samawati wal ard. I know the unseen of the heavens and the earth. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells the angels themselves are part of the unseen world, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is telling them that He knows the unseen of the earth and the unseen of the heavens. So even to the angels, there is the unseen world. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala unleashes to the angels the knowledge that was hidden from the earth, and that was the creation of man. So when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala put out the descendants of Adam alayhi salam from his back, and He shows them to all the malaika, the angels have now been exposed to the unseen of the earth. When the angels saw us, they were exposed to the unseen of the earth. When they came to know the qualities of the descendants of Adam, when they came to know the names of the descendants of Adam, the unseen of the earth was unleashed. And now there is one question. What is the ghaib of the samawat that the angels did not know? What is the hidden element? What is the hidden knowledge? What is the unseen of the heavens that the angels have not been exposed to? And that is the key concept that we are going to look at today. And we are going to drive our attention away from Surah Al-Baqarah a little bit, and we are going to go to Surah As-Sad, one of the surahs that put out the story of Adam alayhi salam and Iblis. And today we are going to take a close look, or the vantage point of Iblis alayhi la'na. We are going to take the story not from Adam's perspective now, but we are going to take a small and close look to Iblis's perspective of the same story. From Surah As-Sad. Before everything happened, before the point, we are going to go a little bit behind from where we had stopped, from the speech of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala with the angels. Before everything, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala calls the assembly of the angels. Remember, with the angels is Iblis, with the angels is Azazir, who is pious. Whenever they call the assembly of the angels, Azazir flows along, Iblis flows along, because he is amongst them, amongst the angels. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala calls the angels, and He says, Allah tells us in Surah As-Sad, وَإِذْ قَالَ رَبُّكَ لِلْمَلَائِكَةِ إِنِّي خَالِقٌ بَشَرًا مِّن طِينٍ. Remember the time when your Lord told the angels that إِنِّي خَالِقٌ بَشَرًا مِّن طِينٍ, I am going to create a bashar from teen. Bashar comes from Bishr. Bishr is the skin. So we are the only beings whose skin is on top. When you look at all other creatures, when you look at the animals, they have a skin, but it is covered under, what is it called? Under the hides, the hides of the animal. So our skin is on top. So from Bishr, which means skin, we attain the name Bashar, because our skins are on top. We need clothes. Animals don't need clothes because their skin has already been naturally covered. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, I'm going to create a Bashar min teen, from clay, from dirt. And that is point number one. Allah tells the assembly of the angels that he was going to create a bashar, one from dirt, from clay. And number two, he tells the assembly of the angels, Iblis inclusive, فَإِذَا سَوَّيْتُهُ, when I evenly proportion him, when I evenly balance him, that is step number two, وَنَفَخْتُ فِيهِ مِنْ رُوحِي, and I blow the soul into him, فَقَعُوا لَهُ سَاجِدِينَ, then bow down for him, bow down in respect to him. How many things has Allah done? Three things. He has created the bashar from clay, from dirt, and point number two, he has evenly proportioned this bashar, and number three, he has put the soul, he has put the ruh inside this bashar. Those are the three things. I don't want to talk about the disobedience of Iblis, alayhi lana, because this is a subject we're going to talk about tomorrow, but let me give you a sneak peek into what is going to happen tomorrow. Iblis alayhi lana will eventually he won't prostrate for Adam alayhi salam. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will ask him, Ma mana'aka la what is it? Why is it that you didn't bow down? Why didn't you go in prostration to respect Adam alayhi salam? And Iblis will say, Ana khayrun minhu, khalaqtani min narin wa khalaqtahu min tin. I am better than him. You created me from the smokeless fire, you created me from the blazes of fire, and you created him from that. And that is the point that I want us to pay close attention to. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he commanded the angels to bow down, to go in prostration to Adam, for Adam alayhi salam, to respect him. When you look at the concept of sajda throughout the Quran, you learn something special. That sujood has always happened when something magnificent has happened. People have always gone down in sajda, not only as an act of worship for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, but they've gone down in sajda out of mesmerization, out of amazement, and out of something magnificent that has happened in front of their eyes. From the seerah of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam, it was seen that one time Surah An-Najm, if I'm not mistaken, Surah An-Najm was recited. And the Quraysh were watching, the mushrikun were listening to the recitation of Surah An-Najm. And when they reached the point of sajda inside Surah An-Najm, the mushrikun who were listening to the surah went down in prostration. They went down in sujood. Out of mesmerization, the words were so magnificent, they were overwhelmed with the Quran. The Quran overwhelmed the mushrikun to the point that they went down in sajda, in prostration. Not because they are doing it for the sake of Allah, no. Out of mesmerization, something magnificent has happened in front of their eyes. And that wasn't enough. I have another example. When Musa alayhi salam, just like we shall see when we reach Musa, he comes with this miracle from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that his staff turns into a python, a huge snake. And when it so happened that this snake swallowed whatever false snakes the magicians had formed, the magicians, what did they do? They fell down in prostration. These are magicians, these are sorcerers. They are not believers as of yet. They fall down into prostration because something magnificent has unleashed in front of their eyes. So the concept of sajda is not only out of worship. The concept of sajda is out of the magnificence of something that is ahead of you. Take an example of something beautiful, something magnificent that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala maybe has done something great for you. You've gone through your portal and you find very excellent results. What happens? This student will go down in sujood shukr. Because whatever has happened deserves sujood. Something magnificent has happened. What happened when the brothers of Yusuf realized that Yusuf has now attained a very high station? He has now power over them, but he has remained in a state of humbleness. The brothers of Yusuf, kharru lahu sujada, they fell down in prostration to Yusuf alayhi salam. Not because they are worshipping Yusuf alayhi salam, but because Yusuf alayhi salam has put out exquisite magnificence in whatever he was doing. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala telling the angels to bow down in respect to Adam alayhi salam, to go in prostration, to respect Adam alayhi salam, it was not a sujood of worship, it was a sujood of the magnificence of the creation of Adam alayhi salam. In other words, Allah is saying, look at this magnificent creature of mine, you need to bow down, you need to prostrate because of the magnificence of this creation of mine. And what was the stage at which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala commanded the angels to bow down in respect? There are three stages. Allah said He was going to create this creature, one, from dirt. Number two, He's going to evenly proportion it. And number three, He is going to put a soul into it. Dirt, proportioning, and the soul. And He says, after all that happens, فَقَعُوا لَهُ سَاجِدِينَ Fa sababiyya, because of me putting the soul into him, فَقَعُوا لَهُ سَاجِدِينَ, then fall down in prostration to him. So it was at the stage of putting the soul into Adam alayhi salam that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala commands the angels that upon my putting the soul into him, the soul is going to unleash his magnificence, then bow down in respect to him. Don't bow down in respect to him when he's just tin, when he's just mud, when he's just clay. Don't bow down in respect to him when he is just evenly proportioned. That's not enough. But when I put my soul into him, فَإِذَا سَوَّيْتُهُ وَنَفَخْتُ فِيهِ مِنْ رُوحِي, when I blow the soul into him, فَقَعُوا لَهُ سَاجِدِينَ, bow down in respect to him. A few weeks ago, I was asking some of my colleagues, do animals have souls? And the debate was so long. Animals have souls, animals don't have souls. They have souls because they die also. The angel of death takes their... So I was bothered. But before you know it, a conclusion came. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, yes, animals might have souls. Those creatures might have souls, but the soul that Adam alayhi salam was going to have, the soul that the descendants of Adam alayhi salam were going to have is not any soul. It's not like the soul the animals might be having, even though I don't agree. It's not like the soul other creatures are going to be having. No, this soul is so special that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala attributes it to Himself. فَإِذَا سَوَّيْتُهُ, when I evenly proportion him, وَنَفَخْتُ فِيهِ مِنْ رُوحِي, and I blow ruhi, Allah calls it His soul. In other words, Allah is saying this soul is special. This soul is not like any other souls. You see, in the Quran, when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala attributes certain things to Himself, it shows how magnificent they are. It shows the special place they take. Just like we all appreciate that we are all servants of Allah. The Muslim of us and the non-Muslim of us. We are all servants of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, whether we accept it or we don't accept it. But what happens in Surah Al-Furqan? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَعِبَادُ الرَّحْمَانِ الَّذِينَ يَمْشُونَ عَلَى الْأَرْضِ هَوْنًا, the servants of the most merciful. And Allah lists their qualities. Allah is saying these are the servants of the most merciful. It is not because the rest are not His servants. They are His servants. They are His slaves, but these ones take a special positions. Other beings might be having the souls. Yeah, like some narrations say, some scholars state out that animals are having souls. They might be having the souls, but this soul is not like their soul. Because Allah points it out that this soul, ruhi, Allah attributes it to His own self. This is my soul. This is how magnificent it is. فَإِذَا سَوَّيْتُهُ, when I evenly proportion him and I blow the soul, my soul, He calls it His soul, into him, then magnificence is complete. فَقَعُوا لَهُ سَاجِدِينَ, fall down in prostration toward Him. And that is how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does it. He tells the angels to bow down in respect to Him, to Adam alayhi salam. Who is part of the angels? Iblis. Is there any way we can mute this one? Okay, thank you. Iblis is part of the angels, and Iblis is listening to whatever command Allah is giving the angels. Before I reach that, we are not the only creatures created from dirt. Animals, insects, rats, horses, they are all created from dirt. They are all created from soil, from mud, from clay. And if we are to be just from mud, from clay, would we have any difference with animals? We would be the same, because animals, we are created from mud, we are also created from mud. We are the same like animals, but we take another special step. فَإِذَا سَوَّيْتُهُ, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives us balance. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives us even proportions. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives us that state of balance, that this creature is going to be different from the creatures I've created from mud. In what way? These creatures are going to be able to balance their emotions and intellect. These creatures are going to be able to balance their short-term goals and long-term goals. These creatures are going to be able to balance their anger and patience. A lot of things are going to happen, and we are going to balance them. We are going to balance our emotional urges and our intellectual urges. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying that capability has been given to this creature. فَإِذَا سَوَّيْتُهُ, that is all embedded in سَوَّيْتُهُ. Animals do not have that. Just like animals, we look for what to eat. You get what you eat and you put in your mouth. Animals also look for what they eat. They want shelter. Animals need food, they need shelter, they need water to drink. The same applies to mankind. But the way we respond to the urges of eating, urges of drinking, and sexual urges, it is not the same way animals react. Sometimes before I eat, let's say I want to eat, I am hungry, I don't have something to eat, but there is food in that restaurant. Am I just going to snatch that food? No. Because there is a state of balance. I'm going to balance the hunger, and that is emotion, and it's going to allude to my intellect. What am I going to do? Am I just going to react simply because I'm hungry? Am I just going to be like an animal? Because an animal doesn't need to ask for permission to eat something. An animal will just come and eat. When you leave your slice of bread there, the rat won't ask for your permission. The rat will just eat. The other creatures, the animals, they don't have فَإِذَا سَوَّيْتُهُ. They were not evenly proportioned. They don't have that state of balance in them. They don't balance their emotions and their intellect. Do they have intellect even? So animals are just explosive in their character, explosive in their behavior. They do whatever they want to do. But mankind was created in a special way that different from the animals that we are just created from mud. فَإِذَا سَوَّيْتُهُ, there is another step of evenly proportion, of balancing him. And that is the second step. But that was not special enough. There was this special element that Allah puts in mankind. وَنَفَخْتُ فِيهِ مِنْ رُوحِي. When he gains, when I blow into him the soul, فَقَعُوا لَهُ سَاجِدِينَ. Bow down in respect to him. So we are special, and we are different from animals because we are evenly proportioned, and we have this soul that is special, that Allah made especially for me and you. So if it was so that Adam alayhi salam was fit for the sajda of the malaika, it means every one of us qualifies for the sajda of the malaika. Why? Because we were created from mud. That's number one. Number two, we were evenly proportioned. And number three, we have this special soul that Allah put into us. And that is why we qualify to earn the sajda of the malaika. And shaitan has a problem with that. And that is the point I want to talk about. The element called the soul, you see, Allah gives us this, the most common question in philosophy, in psychology, is what is personality? Who are you? Yes, you are you, but who are you? That is that you, your personality. Philosophy, psychology, it is the most question that people have differences about. Personality. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَيَسْأَلُونَكَ عَنِ الرُّوحِ. They ask you about the ruh, which holds personality. قُلِ الرُّوحِ مِنْ أَمْرِ رَبِّي. The ruh is from the command of Allah. وَمَا أُوتِيتُم مِّنَ الْعِلْمِ إِلَّا قَلِيلًا. You were given from knowledge just a little. So you won't understand the concept of the ruh. One thing you need to know about it, it is magnificent. That when Allah gave it to me, when Allah gave it to you, Adam alayhi salam and the sujood of the malaika. Iblis was looking, Iblis was watching, Everyone bowed down. Every angel bowed down. Iblis didn't. Remember, I told you I did not come here to talk about the disobedience of Iblis, but I have nothing to do. There is a sneak peek. Iblis is asked why he didn't bow down to respect Adam alayhi salam, for the magnificence of Adam alayhi salam. I'm quoting the words of Iblis like Allah states in the Quran. Ana khayrun minhu. I am better than him. You get that? Number 2, khalaqtani min narin. You created me from the blazes of fire. Wa khalaqtahu min tinin. And you created him from dirt. And he stops there. Hold on. How many stages did Allah count for us? Teen, we are created from dirt. Is it true or not true? It is true we are created from mud. Was that it? Was that it? No, there were other stages. فَإِذَا سَوَّيْتُهُ, when I evenly proportion him, that is step number 2. وَنَفَخْتُ فِيهِ مِنْ رُوحِي, and I blow this special element, the soul, into him, then bow down in respect to him. And when he doesn't go down to sujood, listen to the excuse he gives. I am better than him. You created me from fire. You created him from dirt. Full stop. He doesn't mention the evenly proportioning, and he doesn't mention the soul. Because when he mentions the evenly proportioning, when he mentions the soul, it puts out the brilliance of this creature. And the goal of Iblis is to make you, the descendants of Adam alayhi salam, to feel like we are just dirt. That is the goal of Iblis. Even when he didn't prostrate to Adam alayhi salam, the reason he gave, he's just mad. He's just dirt. He doesn't talk of the soul and evenly proportioning because he has a problem with that. When he talks about it, the brilliance of Adam will have been put out, and he doesn't accept that. So let me talk about that. The concept of self-worth. Sometimes a person might lack what they call self-esteem. I'm not good enough. Maybe I'm not recognized enough. Maybe I'm not worthy anything. Maybe sometimes you might not get the praise you think you deserve, and you say, maybe I'm not good enough. And some people might look down upon you, and you think, maybe I deserve it. Maybe I lack that worth. And before you know it, someone falls into depression, someone falls into anxiety, someone falls into lots and lots of stress that will cause them to leave the straight path. Wow, it is a trick of Shaitan. It is a trick of Iblis, that he makes you lose the self-worth. He makes you think you are not worthy. Hold on, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is considering you worthy. He says, وَلَقَدْ كَرَّمْنَا بَنِي آدَمَ. We have dignified the children of Adam. We have dignified the sons of Adam. Wow, Allah considers me worthy. So the issue is, if Allah considers me worthy, it means I don't need the consideration of anyone else. The consideration of Allah is enough. The consideration of me being fit to earn the sajda of the malaika is enough. I need nothing else. And what Shaitan does, Shaitan causes us to think that we are not worthy enough, that we need some other person's compliment for us to be worthy. I need to upload, take that beautiful picture of mine, I upload it, and I get that thumbs up. At least I get a mashallah as a compliment. That is when I will think I am worthy. And we lose self-esteem to that point, that someone thinks they need to dance to that tune, to put out those dance strokes, for them to get the likes, for them to get the views, for them to feel, now I'm worthy. Someone has finally acknowledged me. That is the work of Iblis. Whenever you feel you are not worthy, and Allah has considered you worthy, to the extent that you qualify to earn the sajda of the malaika, the Shaitan is tampering with your self-worth. The Shaitan is tampering with your esteem. He's considering you not worthy at all. Because he doesn't mention the sawaituhu, he doesn't mention the ruh. You see, he doesn't say, أَنَا خَيْرٌ مِّنْهُ خَلَقْتَنِي مِنْ نَارٍ وَخَلَقْتَهُ مِنْ طِينٍ فَسَوَّيْتَهُ وَنَفَخْتَ فِيهِ مِنْ رُوحِكَ. He doesn't say that. He ends at teen. So in the sight of Iblis, he considers me and you just that. And guess what? What was created from just that? What other creatures were created from that? And they don't have the sawaituhu and nafakhtu fihi min ruhi. They are the animals. So when shaitan takes us off the self-worth, he's going to let us just be like animals. And you know what is going to happen? We are going to live like animals. And Allah alludes to those people that are going to live like animals. Inhum illa kal an'am. They are like animals. Bal hum adall. They are worse than animals. Oh. How does someone assume the state of being an animal when he loses out on فَإِذَا سَوَّيْتُهُ وَنَفَخْتُ فِيهِ مِنْ رُوحِي? When you take off the self-worth that Allah gave you, the self-worth of evenly proportioning you, the self-worth of having this special element, this soul, then you're just going to live your life as an animal. Ever heard those slangs people say, Biansi bya kuleka, taka mutaka? That is a person who is going to live their life as if they don't care. Just like an animal, they won't bother. They will respond to their sexual urges just like the animals respond. They will respond to their urges of eating just like animals respond. Animals don't mind whether it is halal. Do animals have halal and haram? No. The animals will just eat. Mankind has halal and haram. But to the extent that Iblis wants to put off you, فَإِذَا سَوَّيْتُهُ وَنَفَخْتُ فِيهِ مِنْ رُوحِي, mankind won't mind halal and haram. They will just engage. And Allah is calling that person who doesn't consider the فَإِذَا سَوَّيْتُهُ, the evenly proportioning, and the concept of this soul, considers them like animals. And that is what shaitan wants us to do. But that is just one side of the equation. There is the other side. There is this person that shaitan puts off the self-worth. But shaitan doesn't get short of tactics. When you fail on this extreme, shaitan will cross to the other extreme. You see, millions of dollars have been put into, you know what they call mental health? Mental health, and slowly through mental health, the concept of self-love, people being told self-love, you need to consider yourself worthy, you need to love yourself, it is you are enough, okay? You are capable of doing everything, and slowly we are running away from the extreme of shaitan taking us off our self-worth to the other extreme of being too much of the self-worth. And the people you live with, they say, yo wafe, that is our man. And you start believing, yes, that is our man. And through self-love, slowly, you are becoming arrogant. Does shaitan want that also? Yeah, shaitan wants that also. So shaitan wants to put us off self-worth. It works for him. But when we cross to the other extreme, we are running away from this. We want people to be confident. We want people to have self-love. We want people to have self-esteem. They cross from this extreme to the other extreme. They become overly confident, overly self-esteemed. And they become arrogant with the few things that now they have. And now we need to strike a balance. Because as a person who has been evenly proportioned, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has created Adam from mud, from dirt, from clay. He's evenly proportioned. And being evenly proportioned, it means you can balance between two extremes. You can balance between the extreme of being short of self-worth and being arrogant. You can be in between. And this is something that is praiseworthy. This is something that we want. This is something that Allah calls for, the Prophet calls for. And the balance between lack of self-worth, lack of self-esteem, and arrogance is something that is called confidence. And confidence is something that is praiseworthy. We don't want you to be short of self-worth, and we don't want you to be arrogant. because Allah doesn't want that. It is a blameworthy attribute of being arrogant. It is a blameworthy attribute of being short of self-worth. And those extremes are the game of Iblis. Iblis wants them. And we as people who have understood this concept, we need to appreciate that we have been evenly proportioned to balance between these two extremes. You need to know that Allah considers me worthy. It means I don't need any other person's compliment for me to be worthy. Allah has already dignified me. My father Adam alayhi salam has earned the sajda of the malaika. Then it means I am worthy. Do I need someone's compliment? No. It is not going to be the yardstick of my self-worth. If you're at a point where you need someone where you post that photo on Facebook, on your WhatsApp status, that when it doesn't get a mashallah, when it doesn't get the likes, when it doesn't get the comments that you deserve, you'll feel, no, I'm short of self-worth. I'm not worthy enough. And before you know it, someone will fall into, people have fallen into anxiety, depression, just because of social media. They have not gotten the attention they think they deserve. And that is the work of Iblis, putting us off that. And he gains a lot when he does that. Don't be that person, because your father Adam alayhi salam was dignified and he knew that. When Iblis never prostrated to Adam alayhi salam, he just put out one point of the three that Allah had talked about. He just talked of the point of being created from dirt. The last issue I want to address today is one of the goals of Iblis is to wipe off of you the concept of the soul. Iblis is not going to take the soul off of you, but he's going to make you think you're not going to be questionable. Because the element that is going to cause us to be questionable in front of Allah is the element of the soul. That is why these animals are just going to be turned to dirt on the day of judgment. They're not going to be questionable. Animals are not going to be taken to Jannah or hellfire. No. They're just going to be turned into dirt. That is why mankind, who was not careful of how he was living in this life, he was living like an animal. He was living as though he was not given a soul. He's going to reach that day, وَيَقُولُ الْكَافِرُ يَا لَيْتَنِي كُنْتُ تُرَابًا. And the kafir on that day, the very person who thought he was just going to live here on earth the way he loves, the way he likes, just like an animal, he will wish to be like an animal on that day. Will there be opportunity for them to be like an animal? No, it is too late. It is too late. They lived like animals on earth, and they thought they were animals. So when the day of judgment comes, they're like, oh, ya laitani kuntu turaba, how I wish I was an animal. He's now just wishing he was an animal, and yet he lived like an animal. Allah swears by the soul on several occasions in the Quran. In Surah Ash-Shams, he says, وَنَفْسٍ وَمَا سَوَّاهَا. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala swears by the soul and whoever evenly proportioned it. So the element of evenly proportioning is embedded inside the soul. The concept of balancing two extremes is embedded in the soul. And animals do not have that. فَأَلْهَمَهَا فُجُورَهَا وَتَقْوَاهَا. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala inspired the soul to what is good and what is bad. There are some things that you didn't need revelation for you to know that they are wrong. Killing someone. Even people who have never read that ayah in the Quran that killing is bad, they know killing is bad. That is the inspiration given by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. فَأَلْهَمَهَا فُجُورَهَا وَتَقْوَاهَا. The fujur, the explosive character of the soul, and the taqwa, and the protection of the soul, the guarding of the soul, Allah has inspired it. قَدْ أَفْلَحَ مَنْ زَكَّاهَا. Whoever purifies the soul has truly succeeded. وَقَدْ خَابَ مَنْ دَسَّاهَا. And in loss he is whoever corrupts the soul. How do you corrupt the soul? By feeding it with its fujur, its explosive nature. Whatever the soul wants, you give it. Just like the animal would want to eat, and it will eat whatever it finds. Just like it would want to drink, and it will drink from any vessel around. The animal, the cow, won't mind. That is not me, that is not you. Because Allah has given me fujur, has given me taqwa, and He has guided me to both of them. And if I follow the path of taqwa, قَدْ أَفْلَحَ مَنْ زَكَّاهَا, I'm going to attain success. And if I don't follow the path of taqwaha and I follow the path of fujuraha, وَقَدْ خَابَ مَنْ دَسَّاهَا, then in loss he is. The soul is not here to be obeyed. There is a point of restraint that has to be given the soul. And that is what makes us raise in levels in front of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And now shaitan wants to take that off of me, wants to take that off of you. The world we are living in today is a world that is pushing us to the extremes of being like animals. Or even worse. Just like Allah says, Inhum illa kal an'am, they are like animals. The people who live like animals. Bal hum adal. Oh no, but they are worse than animals. See, animals are too bad, but they are not bad to the extent of a male animal going for a male animal. Have human beings reached that? Balhum adal, they are worse than animals. And that is the work of shaitan. That is how shaitan, he puts the soul off of you, and he's like, and someone will say, please stop smoking. What importance is it? In other words, he's just that. He's just going to die and go back to, oh no brother, no sister, it's not like that. It's not the case. The element of the soul is in us. Even when we pretend we don't have it, even when we live our lives as though we don't have this soul, the soul is with us. And woe is unto someone who will reach the day of judgment in front of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He lived his life like an animal, and Allah says, oh, you have a soul and I'm holding it accountable. Oh, ya laitani kuntu turaba. How I wish I was just like that, just like those animals. And when mankind will be saying on the day of judgment, Ya laitani kuntu turaba, woe unto me, how I wish I was just that, it is proof to me and to you that we are not just that. Because people on the day of judgment will be saying, woe unto me, how I wish I was just that. And I'm not just that. Because there is a soul into me that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has evenly proportioned. And that soul is the one that makes you worthy, is the one that makes you brilliant, is the one that makes you magnificent, that you earn the sajda of the malaika. That is the first bit of the ayah in Al-Baqarah, where we said that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala was telling the angels, Alam aqul lakum, didn't I tell you that I know the unseen of the heavens and the earth? Now angels have been exposed to the unseen of the heavens, that is the soul that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given mankind, and the unseen of the earth, the descendants of Adam alayhi salam, the angels have now seen all of them. Allah has taught them, Allah has made them clear, the soul and the descendants of Adam. And He tells them, when I blow the soul into him, the element of the unseen of the heavens, فَقَعُوا لَهُ سَاجِدِينَ, bow down in respect to Him. And the angels do so. The angels do so because one, it is a command of Allah, but two, we are magnificent. We are a brilliant creation of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And that is how Allah wants me and you to live. Confident of ourselves, confident of our nature. He doesn't want us to cross the lines to arrogance, and He doesn't want us to fall short of self-worth and self-esteem. And the world today is so corrupt to the extent that people are going to welcome ideas that are making us like animals, or even worse. And the world is clapping at that in the name of human rights. How wicked is man gonna be? Allah created you. Allah gave you the soul. He gave you intellect, and you're supposed to balance between them. Not a time from the beginning, there is no time in history where the world was proud of this. The last nation that was proud of the issue of homosexuality, the last time it happened and people were proud of it, were publicly putting it out, they were perished. And they received the worst punishment recorded in the Quran. The nation of Lut. And Iblis, alayhi la'na, drives us to that path. You are just a soul. Enjoy. Enjoy. Is it okay for you to be intimate with your fellow man? Yeah, and I get some pleasure in it. Pleasure. Please yourself. Oh no, you are not just a body. There is a soul into you that will be questioned. And Allah is going to question us. And we either, you see, in paradise, everything is going to be at our disposal. In paradise, there's not going to be halal or haram. In Jannah, we are going to live a life of, you see how animals live? They do whatever they want. That is the life in Jannah. So you are free to make one of the two choices. Either you live like an animal here, or you live like an animal in the hereafter. Not the abusive animal in the hereafter, but the animal in a way that you are free to do whatever you want. You choose one of the two. You're either free to do whatever you want right now, or you are free to do whatever you want in the hereafter. Those two can't be together. You are either that now, or you are either that in the hereafter. So Shaitan wants to reap that off of us, but as me and you, who have gone through this story, like Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is embedding confidence into Adam alayhi salam to the point that when he earns the soul, the angels are prostrating to him and he is now attaining the right state of confidence. This is what me and you are supposed to be. We are not supposed to fall short of self-worth, and we are not supposed to cross the line to the other extreme of being overly confident to the point of being arrogant. We are supposed to be in the middle. And that is the concept of evenly proportioning us, that we can be able to balance both extremes. That was my message from the account of Adam alayhi salam that I wanted to deliver to you today, that we are not supposed to fall short of self-worth. We need to know that we are worthy because Allah dignified us. We are worthy because Allah commanded the angels to bow down in respect to us. The likes you get on WhatsApp, or the likes you get on Facebook, the mashallahs you get on WhatsApp after posting that picture are not making you any more worthier. Please, if you embed it in yourself that Allah considered me worthy, the angels bow down in respect to my Father, and I duly qualify for that, you look for nothing more than pleasing Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala who made you worthy. Otherwise, if that's not the case, if you're waiting for the compliment of any other person, you will become a servant of those likes. You will become a servant of those mashallahs. For me, I'm posting on WhatsApp because I want people to say mashallah. And whenever someone says mashallah, tabarakallah, that is a dua. Oh, before you know it, you're becoming a servant of that one. And the one time it won't happen, you'll consider yourself, I have posted my WhatsApp status and no one has commented mashallah. And they have 100 people have seen it and no one has commented. I'm not worthy enough. And that is a person who is going to be depressed, anxious, stress, all of a sudden. Taina na manyi gasala. Tali mu mood. What has taken the mood? He was expecting a compliment from someone who never got it. Allah has already made you worthy. And he's telling you establish prayers. Please come to the worship of Allah because he considered you worthy, and his consideration beats any other considerations. I think that is enough for today. Where we're going to begin from tomorrow, remember the ayah we ended at in Surah Al-Baqarah was the ayah where Allah says, Alam aqul lakum inni a'lamu ghayba samawati wal ard. That one we have dealt with today, ghayba samawati wal ard. But tomorrow, inshallah, we are seeing وَأَعْلَمُ مَا تُبِدُونَ وَمَا كُنْتُمْ تَكْتُمُونَ. I know what you put forward, I know what you show, and I know what you hide. What could the angels possibly be hiding? The angels are known to obey Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala constantly. What are the angels hiding? We have an appointment with that tomorrow, insha'Allah ta'ala. Subhanakallahumma wa bihamdik. Ashhadu an la ilaha illa ant. Astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.